Hi everyone, welcome if this is your first time here. My name is April, this is Plan with April, and if this is a return trip for you, welcome back. Today I am in my composition notebook that I started this month, and I am going to be doing, I did cut this notebook down. Cut it down. I'll be using my Klenna 0.5. And I'm just going to go in here and draw in some quick lines or quick columns. I feel like I'm making an Excel spreadsheet. And then, all right, so what I'm going to do, what this is, if you're curious, this is going to be what I hope to get out of my garden and into canning jars this summer and fall. So I'm going to put up here canning goals. This is the first year I will be using a pressure canner. I've never used one before. It's a little scary for me to think about using a pressure canner. Like I said, I've never used one before. So I've heard the horror stories. I've heard, yeah. So I'm going to put in here, I want this column to be the quantity and then the size. I have three sizes, and I think I'm going to be able to make it work. So I've got an 8, a 16, and then a 32, which is the pint. So I've got half quart, quart, and pint that I'm going to be using for canning this year. So as I go through and make my list of things that I want to can, you're going to see a lot of, side note, did you know that apples have cyanide in them? I had no idea. No idea at all. And it's all apples. It's not just a kind, all of them. I learned it from my nutritionist because she was like, eating one thing can be bad for you. Like just eating one thing. If you eat a lot of apples, they have cyanide. And I'm like, wait, what? And I know from watching, you're going to get a kick out of this. I know from watching, what was it? Ozark, that cherry pits have arsenic. Is it arsenic? Something. Yeah. Maybe it's arsenic in apples. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Probably more interesting if I could actually remember what it was. But here we digress. Here we go. Okay. First thing on my list is a spaghetti sauce. My late grandpa taught me, I need to learn how to talk and concentrate at the same time. Not my cup of tea. Speaking of tea, my grandpa taught me how to make homemade Italian spaghetti sauce. I learned it when I was wee little, like really, really, really little. And I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things. I've always canned spaghetti sauce because you can water bath it. So I've always done that. And I find canning and the whole preparation of canning to be very, very relaxing. And I think it's because I used to do it with my grandpa that I do find it so relaxing. And I just really enjoy it. This year, I am going to be taking my canning to the next level. Like I'm leveling up 200,000 times. I've never had a garden. And this year I have a 45 feet by 40 feet garden. It's the footprint of my garden is bigger or similar to the same size as the footprint of our house. So it is ginormous. We did honestly only plant, maybe 2/3 of it this year because a lot of things didn't come up that we were planning on coming up, like bigger spaced items like cucumbers, watermelon, cantaloupe. We only got 1 of 10 of each one of those plants. Don't ask me what I thought we were going to do with 10 plants of watermelon and cantaloupe because I don't have a good answer for you. Maybe set up a little stand at the end of our lane. I don't know. I'm kind of thankful only 1 of each actually produced a plant because yowzers, that would have been, I don't know what it would have done. We did plant over 200 onions, 2 different varieties, a sweet white and then a Walla Walla. So we will have a lot of onions. But as I'm making this list, there's lots of onions in each of these recipes. Anyway, I am getting sidetracked. I'm getting chatty. Oh, That's not how you spell vegetable. You know? Here's why we have the white out. Does it have to be perfect? No, not at all. I am not a perfectionist. Is this one not a good one? Nope. Let's try this one. Actually, I'm going to put that in my need a refill. Vegetable. Let's spell this right. And I don't think I can water bath my vegetable broth. I think it's going to have to be pressure can. And that's the other thing. After I get all this written out, I'm going to do a secondary column, or like a second set of columns to say water bath or pressure cooker. Because I have, like I said, I'm really nervous about the pressure cooker. But I definitely want to be able to can all of these things. My sister-in-law is going to graciously help me with the salsa, because I've never made that, and I really want to make it. Cucumbers are not doing well, so I think I am going to have to purchase cucumbers to pickle. We'll see. I don't know. And a lot of times people will ask me, especially because they know I've planted this huge garden, isn't it cheaper to purchase just canned goods at the grocery store? And my answer to that is maybe. I don't know for sure because I'm not looking at cost savings. The reason I'm doing this for us is so that we know what is in our food. Like, we know what went into the soil. We know what we used on them. So we know exactly what goes in there. So if you're like on the DASH diet or the Mediterranean diet and it's a lower sodium diet, those canned vegetables, canned beans can have a higher level of sodium in it. And because we're really trying to concentrate on getting back to the basics in our food, that is one of those things that, I thought would help. And again, I really like the idea of canning and having food on hand, and just the idea of being in. So in the fall, when it starts to cool down, I will have my canning center in my canning station or whatever inside the house at our stove in the kitchen. In the summertime, it is hot and we don't have central air in our house. So if I were to can all of this in July, August, September, our house would be hundreds of degrees, like 150 degrees. There's no way I'm going to do that. So I am actually going to set up our camp stove that has a double burner and it runs on propane. And I'm going to put one burner. I might even borrow my sister-in-law's and do 2 camp stoves so that I have 4 available, and do 2 water bath and then 2 of the pressure canners, so that I can have, multiple things, but do it outside so that I'm not heating up our house. The other thing with that, if you're planning on, here I'm going on a sidetrack, if you're planning on canning peaches, nectarines, plums, anything that's sticky that require pineapple, blueberries, anything that requires simple syrup with it, I highly recommend doing those things outside, because I did it one time in our kitchen and everything was sticky, everything. I swear, I don't know how the light fixtures got sticky, but everything had a stickiness to it. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy mess to clean up. Am I a big fan of crazy messes to clean up? No, not at all. Not at all. Pizza sauce I am going to do in the 8 ounce. So I'm just going to put that here. And then I've got marinara sauce. I have over 20 different varieties, 10 different varieties of tomatoes, more than 20 plants. I am planning on doing a lot with tomatoes. And I know that sounds like so many, but when you start looking at my list of what I want to can, it's a lot of tomato base. A lot. tomato paste takes a ton of tomatoes to make the paste. And if you have a roaster oven that you can sit on the counter or you could put it in your garage and run that to make your tomato paste, I would highly recommend that. Same with your spaghetti sauce, your chili base, anything that's going to have to simmer. You could also use your crock pot so that you're not heating up your stove and using that energy from your stove, unless you have gas, and that's different. But for me, it's all going to be either crock pot or roaster that I'm using for these bigger, like the tomato paste, the stewed tomatoes, the pizza sauce, the marinara, all of that stuff. So after tomato paste, I want to do pint jars with applesauce. We have a dozen apple trees, I think 3 different varieties of apple trees at our house. So being able to do apple butter and applesauce is really, really easy. It doesn't cost us anything. We just go outside and grab it. And I think I'm going to do pickled green beans if my green beans do well. If not, I'm not going to do pickled green beans. I'll just do the freezer bags, like the airtight freezer bags. What are they called? Vacuum sealed? Yeah. I'll do those and just put them in the freezer. I also want to make enchilada sauce. And I don't know, I'm going to have to research this one because it may just be canning tomato juice and then having the herbs set aside to make the enchilada sauce. Same with the birria sauce. I don't know if I do like classic and I do it with the beef, I know I have to pressure can it. Anything that you put meat in or is not at a high enough acidic on the chart, you have to do, I think you have to do. I know there's some YouTube videos that'll show you how you can water bath everything. I think for my first year, I'm going to go by, what the FDA has said and not like chance it. I know it's my first year, so I'll follow the rules. Will I next year? I don't know. We'll see. So I know I want 12 pints of spaghetti sauce and I know I want 6 quarts. And you're like, April, why would you do 2 different sizes? Well, this is just for Wes and I. And then this is if we have company over. So I could do 24 of these, but then I'm using up more of my pints. And storage wise, sometimes it's a little easier to store quarts than a bunch of pints. And I already have a ton of pints going on the racks. So I'm also going to do 6 quarts of the chili base. So the chili base will go for, of course, chili. It won't have any beans in it or anything like that. It'll just have the chili base. The sauce, I can also use that for taco soup. So it's a go around. I'm going to do 12 quarts of vegetable stock. And how I came up with these numbers is I sat down and thought about how many times I order this stuff or I buy this stuff at the grocery store, right? How often do I get vegetable stock or spaghetti sauce or salsa or pickles or diced tomatoes? So I sat down and I'm like, okay, there's 52 weeks in a year, 365 days, right? So I've got 12 different nights that we could do spaghetti, okay? That's roughly once a month. That seems low for our family, but it's a good place for me to start. So once a month, I've got spaghetti sauce. And then 6 times a year, I can do spaghetti, a bigger version, a larger version. Mild salsa, again, 1 pint per month of both mild and hot. That seems realistic. Like we don't eat a whole thing of salsa in one setting. Pickles, I said 6, so that's 1 every other month. Right? That seems realistic. Apple butter, again, 6, 1 every other month. Diced tomatoes. Now this one is a vegan because I use diced tomatoes in chili. I use it in so many things. Like I'm always using diced tomatoes to flavor something. So 40 pints of those. I'm going to do 6 pints of pickled onions. I'm going to do 10 pints of stewed tomatoes. 4 half pints of the pizza sauce. Marinara sauce, I'm doing 12 pints. Ketchup, I'm only doing 4. So that's 1 pint per quarter. I know, I feel like I feel like talking about this, I've really narrowed it down to exactly like what I think we eat. And it'll be better next year once we make it through some of these jars to see exactly how we did and what we need more of, maybe what we need less of next year. And it'll help me plan our garden a lot better. So that's the goal. All right, so tomato paste, we use a ton of tomato paste. I use it in almost every recipe to add that depth of flavor. So I don't know if I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do 8 ounces. I'm going to do half pints because that just feels like a lot. And at 8 ounces, I can put it in the fridge and use it a couple times that same week. Applesauce once a month. So I'm going to do 12 pints. Green beans, the pickled green beans, I'm going to do 6 of those. We really only use those for like charcuterie boards when we're going somewhere. So that'll give us some if we want to eat some, or, you know, plenty if we want to do the whole party thing. 12 pints of enchilada sauce. We use enchilada sauce on so many things. It's a great base. It can be used, it can even be used with like, if you do pasta, if you do like a whole wheat pasta and put enchilada sauce on it with, you could even do, why can't I think of it? Porcupine balls, the meatballs with the rice and stuff. Oh, it'd be so good. So good. And then of course, 6 of the birria sauce. And I don't think I'm saying that correctly and I apologize. So let me pop down in here. Let me draw this in. I'm gonna put that there. And I'm just lining this up with the bottom of the numbers just so I can get a marginally straight line. And then I'm going to do water, bath, pressure. Okay. So now I'm going to go in here and maybe what I'll do is I will take, let me do my green. This is my Crayola Super Tip. So I'm just going to put in here the dots, right? So spaghetti sauce, water, water, chili base. I'm going to say pressure because there's going to be onions, green peppers, a lot of things that are going to lower the acidity of the actual tomatoes. So I will strip test that first. I have strips that I can put in there to tell me what sounded weird. Not going to be stripping down in my kitchen, I promise, or outside. Like a pH strip. Okay, moving on. Vegetable broth, I know for sure will probably have to be pressure canned. Salsa, no. Pickles, water bath. Apple butter, water bath. Diced tomatoes, water bath. Pickled onions, water bath. Stewed tomatoes, water bath. Pizza sauce, water bath. Water bath, water bath, water bath. Applesauce, water bath. Pickled green beans, water bath. And then enchilada and birria are going to be my pressure cooker. So that is actually kind of surprising me how much water bath canning I'm going to be doing versus the pressure cooker. I shouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm scared of this column. So obviously I'm really cautious about what I'm putting in there, obviously. Let me know what you think down below. Is this something that you have done before? Have you gardened? Have you, canned stuff? Do you have any advice for me? Like, I know to keep my jars hot, put them in the water to sanitize them, boil them, do whatever that is. And then I also know, finger tight on the lids. Don't store them with the lids on them. I so look forward to putting all these, together and making cute little signs because of course I'm going to make cute little signs. Why wouldn't I make cute little signs? And yeah, just see how the year goes. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me while I show you my canning goals, and I will talk to you down in the comments. I appreciate you. Bye.